Imagine this. Tuesday night. You're standing in your own restaurant, the one you built with your hands, the one that still smells like hickory and brown butter at midnight. Last table cleared out an hour ago. You're wiping down the bar, listening to the ice machine hum, thinking about tomorrow's specials. The front door opens. A woman you've never seen walks in. Late 20s. Red eyes, smudged mascara. She looks like she hasn't slept in days. "We're closed," you say. "I know." She sits at the bar, sets her phone face up between you. "Your wife paid me $400 to flirt with you last Thursday. I was supposed to get your number, send her screenshots, prove you'd take the bait." She pushes the phone closer. "I couldn't go through with it. And I can't sleep anymore. So here I am." You look at the screen. A Venmo receipt. $400 from Renee Crowley to Victoria Hale. Memo line, loyalty assessment, phase 1. Phase 1. This woman sitting at your bar with ruined makeup. She's not even the architect. She's hired help. And your wife. The woman upstairs in your bed right now. The mother of your 6-year-old daughter. She ordered this like a catering service. Paid for it. Labeled it phase 1. Which means there's a phase 2. That happened to me. My restaurant. My wife. My bar. My name is Nathan Crowley. Renee and I met 11 years ago at a food festival in Louisville. I was running a pop-up smoker on Bardstown Road. She was there with friends from her HR firm. She tried my brisket, came back 3 times. Third time, she said, "Either your brisket is that good, or I'm looking for an excuse to talk to you." I said, "Both." We married within a year. Sophie came 4 years later, 6 now, all curls and impossible questions. I opened Crowley's with a small business loan, a prayer, and Renee handling the books on weekends. For 6 good years, we were the couple other people pointed at, the ones they used as proof. I remember one Sunday morning. Sophie was 3. Renee was on the kitchen floor teaching her to roll pie dough, flour on the counter, on the ceiling, in Sophie's eyebrows somehow. Renee looked up at me standing in the doorway and said, "Don't you dare take a picture. This is just for us." I took it anyway, still on my phone. But about 8 months before Jess walked into my restaurant, something shifted. Renee started following self-improvement accounts, podcasts about feminine energy and conscious uncoupling. A weekend retreat in Asheville she came back from, different. Not angry. Recalibrated. Like someone had installed a new operating system and I was still running the old one. She started saying things like, "I need you to show up differently." I'd ask what that meant. She'd say, "If I have to explain it, that's part of the problem." She mentioned a life coach. Victoria. I didn't think much of it. People have coaches for everything now. But the conversations at home started sounding rehearsed, like she was reading from notes she'd studied before I walked in. I told myself it was a phase. Told myself that for 8 months. The night Jess showed me that receipt, I almost convinced myself it was a scam. Someone targeting Renee. Victoria was a con artist who tricked her into something she didn't understand. There had to be an explanation that didn't mean what I thought it meant. I drove home, sat in the driveway, engine running, hands on the steering wheel, 20 minutes. The bedroom light was on behind the curtain. I walked inside. She was on the couch, laptop open, tea on the armrest. She smiled at me. "How was close?" "Fine. You seem tired." "I am." She went back to her screen. Same smile. Same voice. Like she hadn't paid a stranger to test whether I'd cheat on her in my own restaurant. Because for Renee, it was just another Tuesday. I didn't confront her. I wanted to. My hands hadn't stopped shaking since the driveway. But I remembered that patient, knowing tone she'd been using for months. The one that made me feel like a student who couldn't keep up. If I accused her, she'd flip it. "Why are you so defensive, Nathan?" An innocent man wouldn't react this way. So I called Craig. Craig Holloway has been my closest friend since culinary school. Owns a bar on Frankfurt Avenue called The Blind Fox. The kind of guy who listens with his whole body and only talks when he has something worth saying. I told him everything at his kitchen table. Wednesday morning, 6 a.m. Coffee getting cold. He didn't interrupt once. When I finished, he set his mug down and said, "Before you blow anything up, make sure it's real. Pull the bank statements." I didn't want to. Looking meant it might be true. Thursday after the lunch rush, I sat in my back office and pulled up our joint account. Renee handled the bills, but my name was on everything. What I found made me close the laptop, then open it again. Victoria Hale, not one payment. 14, going back 7 months. 400 here, 250 there. One for 600 labeled strategy session, advanced module, strategy session, advanced module. For my marriage, like a training program with levels and certifications, my wife hadn't just tested me once. She'd been enrolled in something. 7 months of payments totaling over $4,000 to a woman who was coaching her on how to handle me. Like I was a difficult employee she needed help managing. Stay with me here, because that's when I started pulling the thread. And what unraveled changed everything I thought I knew about the last 8 months of my marriage. I went back through our fights, not in my head, on paper, every argument from the past 7 months. Dates, what she said, what I said, how it ended. A pattern appeared that made my stomach drop. March, she accused me of prioritizing the restaurant over her. I apologized, took a week off, rearranged the schedule. April, she said I wasn't emotionally available. I started coming home earlier, asking about her day, doing everything I could think of. May, she told me I didn't make her feel desired anymore. I planned a weekend in Nashville, the Hermitage Hotel, candles, dinner at Husk, the whole thing. June, she said I was controlling. I backed off, gave her space, stopped asking questions. Every single fight followed the same rhythm. She'd name an inadequacy. I'd scramble to fix it. She'd go quiet for a week, satisfied, then name a new one. Like a checklist being worked through top to bottom. Because it was a checklist. Craig's wife, Dana, works in digital marketing. She knows how to find things online that people think they buried. She found Victoria Hale's website in 20 minutes. Relationship Clarity Coaching. The sales page described a 6-month program. Phase 1, Assessment. Phase 2, Activation. Phase 3, Decision Architecture. Decision Architecture. For marriages. Like designing a building to collapse on schedule. The program promised to help women discover their truth about the relationship through structured scenarios and guided emotional testing. Translation: manufacture crises, script fights, watch how he responds, then decide if he's worth keeping. All with a coach whispering instructions between rounds. Every fight for 7 months. Every tearful accusation. Every cold shoulder and sudden warmth. None of it was spontaneous. It was curriculum. I wasn't married to Renee for the last 8 months. I was married to Victoria Hale's lesson plan. Here's what I didn't do. Blow up. Here's what I did. Watched. Friday. Renee came home, kissed Sophie on the head, asked me about the weekend specials. Normal. I gave normal back. Smiled when she smiled. Answered when she asked. Saturday. She suggested brunch at North End Cafe. I said sure. She was warm, attentive. Laughed at my stories about the new line cook. Touched my arm twice across the table. I watched her the way I watch a new recipe, carefully, looking for what's underneath the presentation. Sunday night. Sophie was in bed. Renee sat across from me at the kitchen table, wine glass in hand, and said, I feel like we've been distant lately. I want us to be close again, like before. And here's the thing. She was good at this. Her eyes were soft. Her voice had that crack in it, the one that used to make me cross the room and pull her close. Every part of me wanted to believe it. Almost did. What do you mean by close? I asked. Like we used to be, before everything got so routine. When did it become routine? She paused, half a second too long. I could almost see her scrolling through responses. Gradually, I guess? I nodded, said nothing else, went upstairs. She stood in the kitchen doorway for a full minute before following. I know because I counted. Monday, no good morning text. She checked her phone before breakfast. Tuesday, she mentioned a client problem at work. I said, that sounds tough. Went back to my coffee. She waited for more. More didn't come. Wednesday, I went to the restaurant at 6 a.m., came home after 10. Didn't explain. Thursday, Sophie had a choir thing at school. Renee said, should we grab dinner after? I said, I already ate at the restaurant. Friday, she suggested watching something together. Craig invited me out. Another time? Not strategy. I want to be clear about that. I just didn't have anything left to give. Every time I looked at her, I saw 14 Venmo payments. A crying woman at my bar. The words Phase 1 in a memo line. I wasn't withdrawing to make a point. I was empty. But she noticed. By Monday, the edges came back. Sharp and fast. You're being weird, she said while I loaded the dishwasher. I'm being me. No, you're not. You've been distant for over a week. What's going on? Nothing's going on, Renee. Something's clearly going on. You barely look at me anymore. I'm looking at you right now. She stared, searching my face for something she could grab onto, then walked out of the kitchen. I heard our bedroom door close, not a slam, but hard enough to rattle the picture frames in the hallway. Tuesday, she was ice. Walked past me like furniture. Didn't speak except to Sophie. Made dinner for two, her and Sophie. My plate was not on the table. Wednesday, different person entirely. She came into the restaurant during the afternoon lull, sat at the bar, my bar, and ordered a glass of wine like a customer. "I miss you," she said. "I miss us. We're right here." "No, we're not. You're here. I'm here. But we're not together anymore. Can you feel that?" "Yeah, I can feel it." "Then help me fix it." I wiped the bar, set a clean glass down. Some things fix themselves when people stop breaking them. She flinched, finished her wine, left without paying. Didn't need to. Her name was on the business too. Thursday, silence. Friday, she came home with grocery bags and made my mother's pot roast recipe. The one she'd only made 3 times in 11 years, always for my birthday. She set the table with cloth napkins, lit candles. "I know I've been difficult," she said over dinner. Sophie was already in bed. "I've been scared. My friend from the retreat, she told me that every marriage needs testing to stay strong. I think I took bad advice. I think I let someone else's fear become mine." Her eyes were wet. Not performative wet, genuinely red-rimmed, like she'd been crying in the car before she came in. I wanted to believe her. You have no idea how badly I wanted to believe her. Then, what happened next almost broke me. Wednesday morning the following week. I came downstairs and found a handwritten letter on the kitchen island. 3 pages. Renee's small, careful handwriting, the kind she used for Sophie's birthday cards. "Nathan, I know something is wrong and I know I'm partly responsible. I was working with a coach and I realized the advice I was getting was pushing me away from you instead of closer. I ended it. I called Victoria yesterday and told her I'm done. I deleted her number. I don't want to lose this family. I don't want to lose you. You are my home. You have always been my home." Next to the letter, a fresh pot of coffee and a plate of lemon ricotta pancakes, the ones from our 3rd date at that place on Eastern Parkway that closed years ago. Sophie was at the table eating one. She looked up at me with powdered sugar on her chin and said, "Mommy made pancakes because she says she's sorry." My throat closed. I pressed my hand flat on the counter to steady myself. You know that feeling when you want to believe something so badly your whole body leans toward it? That was me, holding that letter, smelling those pancakes, looking at my daughter's face. For 4 hours, I believed her. Then Craig called. "Don't be mad," he said. Dana kept digging. She found a private Facebook group for Victoria's clients, past and current. It's called Clarity Circle. Okay, Renee posted in it, last night, after she supposedly ended things with Victoria. Silence. "What did she post?" Dana screenshotted it, sending it now. The message appeared on my screen. Renee's profile picture. "He's pulling away, but I wrote the letter like V suggested. Made the pancakes. Brought our daughter into it." He softened immediately. V says phase 2 is about breaking his emotional walls down before the assessment call next week. Feeling really hopeful about this. Feeling hopeful. The letter was phase 2. The pancakes were phase 2. Sophie, my daughter's powdered sugar smile used as a stage prop in a coaching exercise, was phase 2. I put my phone down. Walked into the walk-in cooler at the restaurant. Stood there with my hands on my knees. 2 minutes, maybe 3, couldn't feel the cold. My sous chef was there when I came out. "Chef, you good?" "I'm fine. Let's prep for tonight." But here's where it gets worse. Because the story I thought I was living, wife gets bad advice from a shady coach, wasn't the real story. Dana had gone deep. Deeper than I asked. Victoria Hale wasn't a life coach who sometimes gave bad advice. She was a breakup strategist. Phase 1. Assess the marriage through loyalty scenarios and emotional testing. Fee, $400 per test. Phase 2. Activate emotional dependency. Script reconciliation attempts to keep the husband off balance while building the wife's case for separation. Fee, $250 per session. Phase 3. Decision architecture. When the wife decides to leave, Victoria refers her to a specific divorce attorney, an attorney who pays Victoria a referral commission for every new client. Victoria Hale made money when marriages burned. The testing wasn't designed to save anything. It was designed to build a case. The scripted fights gave Renee documented evidence of his failures, each one recorded in session notes. The reconciliation attempts kept him close enough to keep gathering ammunition. The whole thing was a pipeline. Coaching fees on the front end, referral commission on the back end. The marriage was never supposed to survive. It was inventory. Dana found 3 other women in the Clarity Circle group who'd completed all 3 phases. Every single one was divorced. All three used the same attorney. Renee wasn't Victoria's first success story. She was just the latest. And the worst part? Renee didn't know. She genuinely believed Victoria was helping her save her marriage. She was paying someone to dismantle it and thanking her for the blueprints. I sat with that for 2 days, worked the line, tucked Sophie in at night, watched Renee cycle through her phases like clockwork. Thursday night, she cooked dinner again, set the table with candles, the good plates. "I want tonight to be about us," she said. "Just Nathan and Renee, no baggage." I sat down, ate, complimented the chicken. "Nathan," she reached across the table, took my hand. "Whatever wall you've put up, I want to help take it down. Tell me what you need. I need honesty. I'm being honest. When's the last time you talked to Victoria?" Her fingers went still on mine. "I told you. I ended it." "When's the last time, Renee?" I said I'm done with her. "That's not what I asked." She pulled her hand back. "Why are you interrogating me? I wrote you a letter. I made you breakfast. You posted in the Clarity Circle group 12 hours after you wrote that letter. You told them the pancakes worked, that phase 2 was on track, that Victoria was coaching you on breaking my emotional walls." The color left her face, not gradually, all at once. "Who told you? You used Sophie. You used Sophie. You put powdered sugar on our daughter's face and turned her into a prop. You had her say, 'Mommy's sorry,' because your coach told you a child's voice would soften me faster." "That's not? Was any of it real, Renee? The letter, the tears, the pot roast, the 12 months before that?" "Because I've been going through our fights and every single one matches a module in Victoria's program." She stood up. Chair scraped the floor. "You paid a stranger to seduce me in my own restaurant. You don't get to talk about privacy." Silence. The kind you feel in your ribs. Then something I didn't expect. The mask didn't just crack, it dissolved. Renee sat back down slowly. Her shoulders dropped. Her face changed into something I hadn't seen in over a year. Raw and frightened and very, very young. "I was terrified," she whispered. "My friend Claudia, she said her husband was perfect too, right until the day he wasn't. She said you never really know. Victoria made it sound like I was protecting us, by testing me, by being sure. $4,000 sure. I didn't know about the referral fees. I didn't know about the other marriages. You have to believe me." I looked at her, really looked, past the tactics and the phases and the 7 months of manufactured conflict. And I saw it. She was telling the truth about that part. She didn't know Victoria was running a demolition business. She thought she was buying insurance. But that didn't fix what it broke. "You manufactured every crisis in this marriage for 7 months," I said. "Every fight, every cold shoulder, every time you cried and I held you and thought I was failing you. That was an assignment. You graded me. I was scared. You should have been scared enough to talk to me, not to hire someone. You're right. I know I'm right. That's not the problem. The problem is, I can't tell which version of you is sitting in front of me right now. The real one or phase 3. She had no answer for that. Neither did I. Renee's mother, Linda, called me the next day. She'd heard pieces. Renee's version, which I'm sure sounded different from mine. She came over Saturday afternoon. Linda sat at our kitchen table and looked at me with that look mothers-in-law give when they think their daughter married wrong. "Every marriage has rough patches, Nathan." Renee was trying to get help. "Linda, she paid a woman to send someone to flirt with me in my restaurant while my staff was closing." Linda stopped. "She enrolled in a 6-month program that scripts arguments, manufactures emotional crises, and runs loyalty tests using hired strangers. The coach refers women to a divorce attorney and takes a cut of the fee. Every client who finished the program is now divorced." Linda looked at Renee, who was standing by the refrigerator with her arms crossed, staring at the floor. "Is that true?" "Mom, she made it sound different. Is it true?" "Yes." Linda sat back. "She's an old-school Louisville woman. 38 years married to Renee's father." She looked at her daughter like she was reading a language she didn't recognize. $400 to test your husband," Linda said quietly. "Your father would rather you'd burn the money in the yard." That was the moment. Not my words. Not my evidence. Her mother's face. I filed the paperwork the following week. My lawyer handled the details. Craig helped me move what I needed into the apartment above the restaurant. 2 suitcases and a box of Sophie's things for the nights she'd stay with me. The night I told Sophie, she was in her pajamas. The ones with the little chefs on them. Renee bought those 2 Christmases ago. "Daddy, are you and Mommy going to live in different houses?" "For a while, baby." "Can I bring my blanket to both?" I pressed my face into her hair so she wouldn't see my eyes. You can bring anything you want. That was October. By December, the papers were signed. Quick and quiet. I saw Renee once more, in January. She came into the restaurant on a Tuesday night, after close, just like Jess had. Sat at the same bar stool. I looked into what you said about the referral fees, she said. You were right. About all of it. I poured her a glass of water. Set it in front of her. I'm not here to ask you to come back, she said. I just need you to know I wasn't always performing. Some of it was real. I know. How? Because I remember the flower on Sophie's eyebrows. You can't fake that. She nodded. Took a sip. Set the glass down. I'm sorry, Nathan. I know that too. She left. I wiped down the bar. Same cloth. Different man standing behind it. Victoria Hill's website went dark 3 months later. Turns out when your business model depends on secrecy, one honest woman at a bar at midnight is enough to bring the whole thing down. Sophie stays with me Thursday through Sunday. We make pancakes Saturday mornings. Real ones. Not a tactic, not a phase, not a module. Just flour and eggs and a 6-year-old with sugar on her chin who doesn't know what any of this costs. Renee told that coach the test would prove something about me. She was right. It did prove something, just not what she expected. Dear listeners, that's our ending. If it resonated, subscribe to support the channel. See you next time.